everyone. It's Nomsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. With me today, I have Carol Ann Cooper. How are you, Carol Ann?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. So
Good.
today, our topic today, do you want to introduce the topic, Carol Ann?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. The topic today is the ultimate guide to building authentic friendships based on truth. And this sort of came out of a selection of possible topics I was given to choose from, and this one just went, choose me. And as I sort of looked into it and researched it and thought about it, it's very key, because I remember when I was growing up, I didn't really know what a friend was, what that word meant. And even when I started defining what I wanted in a, once I got divorced and I was thinking about maybe having another relationship, I said the cornerstone of that relationship had to be friend first. But I realized I hadn't defined what a friend would be. And I realized actually I didn't know, well, what did friend mean? So I think actually exploring this would be a great, just felt like a great idea. And it's brought up a few things for me as I've sort of researched it. So what were your thoughts when you saw this one?
Yes, when I saw the topic, I was like, sometimes building a authentic friendship based on truth can be really, really challenging. But it's worth the effort, because some people, there are some people who just like to get out there and make friends. They don't mind, they befriend everybody, anyone, and they connect with everybody. But when you're looking for true authenticity, when you get out there, you're not judging people, but you connect with people that align with your values and your beliefs, because not everyone else will agree with your beliefs or your values, but you just have to you have to choose your friends very, very carefully, which I find myself, before I used to just hang out with everybody, like I'll just trust everyone. I'm sure you've been there, Carol Ann, where you meet everyone, you think everyone thinks like you, they are nice like you, just because of your character, you think everybody else thinks the same and they're gonna treat you the same. But then as the time goes by, people start showing you their true colors and the dark side of them, and then things turn out not to be what you expect. So, but now I'm in a point where I choose my friends very, very carefully. When I take time to get to know somebody, I don't just let somebody in straight away. And I don't build a wall of protection either. I open up just to get to know somebody and ask the questions that I need to ask. But I don't have to be closer to them just like that and start hanging out and start. I can make phone calls and text and get to know them properly. I'm good with that. But before, I just used to think just because I'm nice, everybody's nice. I was
so a little
naive.
bit of a downfall, isn't it? It's like not everybody thinks the same way. And I think that's the beauty and the richness of life, in a way, when you get to realize that everybody's not the same.
Yeah.
And yes, it can be a bit disconcerting, but it's recognizing that that's okay. That is, as I said, the richness of life. It's what allows you to realize that there is differences, and a friend accepts differences. You're not all the same, and a friend can be someone who isn't the same as you and doesn't necessarily have the same views or opinions, but there's something that holds you together. There's something that you can accept each other's point of view. You enjoy a good discussion together. So there will be something that connects you, and there'll be some bond that happens. And it's the main thing is that there's respect, that you respect each other and you respect their boundaries. But of course, you've got to know your own boundaries as well, because if you don't know your own boundaries, then you can't hold them or maintain them and let people know when they've stepped over them. So you do need to know yourself. And I believe that you've actually got to be your own best friend before you can be anyone else's friend, because it is allowing yourself to get to know yourself and get to know them. And I remember when I was at school, I had two really good, what I called friends. I called them good friends. They were close friends, but they didn't like each other, these two people. And I remember at one time being given an ultimatum by them both: if you're her friend, you can't be my friend. And at the time, I didn't know how to deal with that. It was like, oh, because I wasn't strong enough in my own self to make that stand. Whereas now I realize, if you're making that ultimatum, then neither of you, my friend, because you wouldn't do that. Just because I'm her friend means I can still be your friend. You know, you don't need to tell me I can't be your friend. And so it's not about having a power over somebody or creating ultimatums and being demanding of certain ways from them. It's about being there for each other and accepting who their friends are, who they're hanging around with, and just being there for each other. So first of all, you need to know yourself and be strong enough to stand up for yourself and know that, no, this doesn't work for me, and know when somebody is not really being a true friend. So that's something that sort of I often think back on, and that's, in a way, I'm grateful to them both now, because it's given me something to think about. It's given me a valuable lesson and learning, and helped me to realize I need to know myself and be able to stand up for myself and communicate in a way that is not blaming or putting them down, but is just making a stand for me and what I will and won't put up with. And and in a way, I guess, I don't know, I'm sounding like there might be an ultimatum: if you can't take me as I am, then I can't be your friend. But it's, is that what it is? Or is it a case of, well, I know who I am, and I won't accept ultimatums from you. I want, I'd like to be your friend, and this doesn't work for me. So there's ways of communicating effectively. And if at the end of the day it means that they can't be your friend, then you just got to let go. And be happy with that. And be accepting. And move on. Because people come into your life either for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And so it could just be for a short moment.
Yeah.
Or a bit longer, or even longer, And it's just recognizing, what that is. So I don't know, have you had friends from your past when you were younger that have taught you great lessons about friendship?
Actually, when I was young, I've only had like one friend or two friends. My friend was my dad when I was young, and I just used to hang out with my parents. But and the friends that I had growing up, I never had ladies friends. I only had boys, because boys are not complicated. Honestly, I don't do drama. I honestly, when I was when I started having friends, I think I was 26. When I was like having a serious relationship, thinking about having children, and those friends were like my boyfriends that the friends that I had when I was in Africa, and they moved to the UK as well, and then they got married, and their wives became like my sister-in-laws, like my family, because boys, they're very, very simple. And also, when you have a problem or somewhere you made a mistake, they don't go around the bush. They're like, Nomsa, you know what? Sort yourself out. You just get real. Honestly, that's why I like having friends with the male. And it's like, there's a guy that I live here. There's a guy that lives there, professional footballer. And every time I see him, he always said, hello, because I talk to everybody. So yesterday we're just hanging out outside, and then before you know it, the whole team was outside my house. So I had to say, okay, guys, I'm going to have to go and broadcast my talk. And when I'm finished, I'll come and join you. So I had to leave them. I thought they were going to go. They just stay there because they like hanging out. So that is the kind of person that I am, because I like to, when I'm hanging out with people, I've tried to hang out with girls. What happens when I hang out with women, I end up find myself in a comparison place. Like the girls that I have my friend that we grew up, we were together in South Africa. We worked together for 2 years, I think. He lives in Birmingham, he's married. So his wife, she's like a sister to me. And then I have another friend that lives in Southampton, but she's divorced now, but we became best friend. Happy. She's not complicated. She says things as they are. She's like boys. Sometimes she goes over the top when it comes to men. So I love her. She's very straightforward. But I've had friends where sometimes I have had to like feel like I'm competing with them. But those friends, I had to move them away. I had to move away from them. But when you move away from somebody and like they want to hang out with you because they don't see what they're doing, and because I know myself, I don't compete when it comes to friendship or with anything. I don't compete. I know life can be very, very complicated. Some people may have the moment like a season where things are going well for them, or sometimes I can have a season where things are not going well for me. So I intend to accept my life for what it is, like what you are saying, Carol Ann, that know thyself, know yourself. So I'm somebody that I get to know myself really, really well. But I do have friends that sometimes they're good, and sometimes, but you find yourself in that competition. Or this word that you were saying, ultimatum, this word, I've had it in a relationship actually. When somebody tells me that I have told my husband, I have given him an ultimatum. And I was like, what kind of an ultimatum was that? They were like, I told them they can either quit smoking or I'm out. And I'm like, that is a blackmail. Or sometimes we'll be telling you, I told this person, if they don't do this, I'm out. I'm like, that's not friendship. That's a blackmail. That's blackmailing someone. But it's a habit that I think I used to do as well when I was in a relationship. Like before I go into personal development, I would just get grumpy. Or if I get grumpy and I'm like, if you don't do this, or I just take an easy way out. Just say an easy way out. The best place for me, option is for me to get out of this relationship. And I find somebody is begging. But now I look back, it's embarrassing. When a man is begs and say, you tell them you're out. But Shanda said she broke up with her husband how many times? 20 times or 30 times. I think more than, 17 times in one day.
Oh gosh.
And then
Oh,
he was like, and they were both like, that's it, we've had enough of this. And then they went and got a coach together. And that's why their relationship, they're where they are. But people give an ultimatum, Carol Ann. But I think it's very, very important what you were saying, know yourself and get to know people and keep your true authenticity. And it's very, very important for me. Like now that I'm in a relationship, I find it hard to actually when the friends that I have, I don't have many friends. That's why I think at Ngozi talk shows I talk to you a lot, or I talk to Claudia a lot, because it's you and Claudia. Who else do I talk to? Kamal. Because whenever there is a problem for me, I don't like somebody when I'm asking for an advice who will tell me a life story. I like somebody who give me an advice that will build me as a person, to say, Nomsa, go and do this. To me, that is a good advice, even when things are not working, just to say, Nomsa, go and do this. And that's why I always get from you to say, Nomsa, have you tried this? Or maybe go put up a prayer out there and just pray and find out what comes up. So for me, those are the kind of people that I like to hang out with. And but sometimes it's not easy. It's very, very challenging to make friends. And I've had so many people as well actually saying it's not easy to find authentic people. Even guys nowadays, they're saying women, they pretend to be something they're not. It's not easy to find somebody who's authentic. People just put up some personality. So I don't know if you have ever come across those things, Carol Ann, in your, but you've lived a life.
oh gosh, there's a few things that went through my head and popped back out again. In terms of people saying that they find it's not easy to find people who are authentic, I think if that's the case, what you have to do is look to yourself. Are you being authentic? Because people only show up how you're showing up. Sorry, I've got something's irritating my eye. And so rather than making them wrong and going, oh, people don't show up as authentic, look to your own life and yourself and say, well, where am I not being authentic? And work on that. Because once you start being authentic, knowing yourself, being yourself and not who you think others want you to be, because that's not being authentic. And again, so get to know yourself, be yourself and be authentic, and also be someone who is reliable. Are you say, you say you're going to do something, you do it. You show up for people, even when the going is a bit tough. And the more you can be authentic, the more you will find that there are authentic people out there. There are many authentic people out there. But until you show up as being authentic, you won't attract them, because it's a vibration. And as we know, everything, vibrates, and matching vibrations attract. If you've got different vibration, you push them away. So if you're not being authentic, you'll attract those who are not being authentic. So rather than making a sweeping statement, oh, there aren't any, there's not many authentic people out there, well, that's who you're attracting. Stop. Change your point of view, look to yourself, and you'll find that you will start attracting authentic people. And then you can start by listening to them. Because where have you not been listening? Because being actively listening to somebody is also about being a good friend. rather than it's all about you. You know, do you only talk about yourself? Do you just want somebody to listen to you and about your woes and your problems and, you know, be helped? But when they're wanting something, you're gone, because then you're not listening. You're not being there for them. So it's really understanding what is a friend. And something I've sort of come to realize over years, but looking into it this morning, it's deepened this knowledge a bit more and understanding. There are different types of friends. And yes, you can have your best friend. And it's not about having lots of friends. One best friend is worth 100 just friends, because they'll be true to you. So it's knowing who is the best friend, who is maybe just a casual friend, someone that you just see now and again, or that you enjoy their company. It's a different relationship. There are acquaintances. See, I never understood that difference. I used to say someone was a friend, and someone would say to me, oh, no, they're just an acquaintance. And I go, oh, really? Don't know what that means. So, and there's something there to look at. Are they a friend, or are they just an acquaintance? And it's okay if they're just an acquaintance, but it's recognizing that relationship. Again, it's all down to relationships. What is that relationship? You might have a friend who is just, you've got a hobby and you just do a hobby together. So it's just, they're a hobby friend. You know, there's a work friend. At work, you might have somebody you're really close to, and a friend at work, but you don't see them outside of work. So again, it's the different type of relationship. They're there for you while you're at work. They stand up for you, they help you, they support you, you're there, you've got each other's backs. That's what a friend does. Again, it depends in what scenario. So there's lots of different types of friend. I've got what I call a college friend who I met when I was at college many years ago. And we just hit it off. We hung out, we got on really well together. We were there for each other. You know, after we'd go home in the holidays, we'd come back and we'd catch up and we'd listen to each other, and we helped each other with getting our work done and supporting each other and rooting for each other to get through the trainings. It was the teacher training college that we were at. But since then, I've hardly seen her, but we're still in contact. And even now, it's just once a year contact, but it's like we can talk and it's as if time has never been. You know, even all these years later, still class her as a friend in that respect. You know, and so a friend isn't somebody who says, oh, you're never in touch with me, so no, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Someone who's still, you can pick up the phone and have that chat. It's, oh, hi, how are you? And it's like time's never been. So it's really understanding the nature of the friendship and working within those parameters and accepting it. So first of all, know yourself, be a friend to yourself, make sure you're being authentic, and then identify the different types of friendships. Because I had a really close friend where I used to live in Gloucester. For years we were friends, and we got even closer because we used to go to Keep Fit together. Every Tuesday evening, every Saturday morning, we used to go to something called toning beds. So these were the beds that they moved and they helped to tone your body. So that was the only time I saw her. There was occasionally we might go out, we would meet up, go out, but we never really went out socially. But we had a really great friendship. And once I started doing my personal development work, and I seemed to go off on a journey, and then I left teaching, and we stopped going to Keep Fit and toning beds. I saw her a few years later, and she said that it was as if I'd gone off and it was on a journey that she couldn't follow, and she was really upset about it and said, but you didn't, I couldn't go with you. And I realized afterwards that there was some expectation on our friendship. And I realized that our friendship was not a friendship where we picked up the phone and would talk on the phone. I had a couple of other friends where that was a friendship. We only ever spoke on the phone. This friend and I, we never spoke on the phone. The only times we spoke on the phone was to arrange the time to go to Keep Fit or, So I suddenly thought, hang on a second here. You put expectations on a friendship that was never there and made it wrong. And so I was able to forgive that and let that go and just keep sending her blessings, because she's cut me out. We never spoken again since. And I often think about her, send love and blessings, and maybe one day we'll meet up again. But I certainly was able to see that type of friendship, what it was. And we become really close. And she thought of me as her best friend. And I remember thinking, oh, really? Because I didn't understand what best friend meant. So there's a lot of things to understand. It is a minefield, isn't it? It's a minefield.
Yeah, I had a friend as well. Now you're telling me about somebody cutting you out. I had a friend as well from Turkey, and the other one from Poland. We met when I was at college in Essex, and we got to know each other. I was pregnant with my daughter and gave birth, and they hanged out with us, and she went back to Turkey, got married and went back. And I lost my dad, so I was going through, well, no, that was after my daddy died. I was going through tough times because now I had to live without him. It was really hard because my parents are the people that I'm really, really close to, my mom and dad. It's like they're my best friend. When I talk something, or even when I go home, I just like to hang out with my parents. But I saw that my world was going to be really a different world, and which I didn't know how to deal with it. So I remember texting her one day. I didn't keep in touch for a few months, and then I just sent a message on Facebook just to check on her. And she sent me a message and said, I don't think we should keep the friendship because she doesn't think we have anything in common, because I've stayed without getting in touch with her. And so I was like, oh, okay. So then I contacted the other one that was in Essex. We were in touch. And I sent a message as well. I think they had spoken to each other. And then even her as well, she said she didn't think that we have anything in common. I was like, because they keep in touch. I was like, if I didn't text you, you are allowed to text me. Why the blame comes on me? But at the time, like when somebody send you a message and they're being horrible, you're like, oh, okay, maybe I've done something. But now that I look back, understanding the relationship and the person that I am as well, because for me, I accept people for who they are. I don't try to change anyone. And I do understand the journey of life as well, that people get busy. And when people get busy as well, you have to understand their point of view as well. If somebody doesn't keep in touch with you, it doesn't mean that they don't care. So I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't ask any questions. I was like, okay, if that's what you want. So sometimes you'll find, because when you talk about expectations, people do have expectations that they expect. It's like sometimes when it comes to life, or sometimes when I see Martin with his family, because I'm sitting on the other side, you'll find that there's this character that they expect him to be like them, but not understanding sometimes that people are different. So we are all different people leading a different life, and our characters are different. So it happens with a friendship as well. Sometimes you'll find that some people, they expect you to behave the way they behave. But for me, when I'm with somebody, it's about listening to what that person is saying, and the ingredients that I take to that with friendship. And when you show up as authentic, it doesn't matter what people say, because we live in this world where everyone has opinions about everything. But you have to understand that people's opinions, it doesn't mean that they're true. And you have to keep your true. It's like these friends that I was telling you about, Kero, and both of them they were married, and they're still married. The other one is divorced, but my other friend is still married. They were going through difficult times. You know, when somebody is going through difficult times and they come to you, they want advice, they want you to comment. Oh, I'm like, I cannot comment because I love you and I love her. If I comment, you guys are together now, I'm going to be the bad guy. So I ain't going to comment. I am just going to support both of you. And it was a tough. You know, when you love somebody and they're going through something and they come to you, both of them, they're crying to you. And you are like, what do I do? And I thank God that I am somebody who does not gossip. Honestly, my friend, I remember one day she was like horrible, and she goes, Nomsa, you're meant to take my side. And I was like, I love you. I just looked at him and I said, I'll always love you. You know that. Make a decision. It doesn't involve me. I don't need to comment anything. All I can say is I love your wife. I love you. You're my brother. But right now, you have to make this decision, a choice, whether you stay with your wife, you sort problems out, or you're out. But I can't give you that choice. I cannot comment, because to me, you're beautiful. She's beautiful. Whatever is going on right now, it needs a professional help, not a friend, not me. And I was like very, very clear that I will not blame him. When I'm with his wife, I will not blame him. I'm just going to listen. And it was the toughest decision, Carol, and that somebody will put you in that position, you get into that position. But he is my friend, and I had to be really authentic and be honest with him to say, you know what, at this moment, no matter what you're going through, you're going to have to sort it out. But I'm glad that I stayed true to him, because even today he stayed with his wife. Now he's happy. Because when you get married, you go through this phase where things don't go the way you want. But then you just have to figure it out. So I was in that moment where I'm being put in the middle as a sister. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm not going to get involved. And even at the wedding, I was one of the bridesmaid, and I was like, I'm not getting involved. So, and I was like, I love you guys very much. I had to be clear. You know, when you love somebody, it's tough. But that is called a friendship. I find that people, when they're friends with somebody, they believe that they can control the person, or people should behave this way. But for me, I accept people for who they are. And I find that relationship works when you accept somebody for who they are. But there's one thing that I will not tolerate. I don't tolerate the nonsense. Honestly, our no nonsense. When I'm in a relationship with somebody, a friendship is a friendship. But if a friendship is the one that is dragging me, pulling me down, because we have friends that lift us up. But then you find that sometimes you can connect with people that brings you down. And we can connect with the friends that lift you up. They come, they lift you up, they help you with in that season, and they're gone. So I find those people, I connect with those people, but there are sometimes people that I meet and they want to drag me down. I'm like, no, I don't take that. So I'm like, I have to be me. But if that thing is dragging me, if the relationship is now dragging me, it's like when I'm in a relationship, intimacy relationship, I don't control no one. Martin knows, I just let him be him. And that was my first relationship. It destroyed my first relationship because my ex was like, why can't you be normal? And I was like, you can tell me, describe what does normality mean. And he was like, you have to show some emotions of argue with something, fight with something. When some things are not going right, just do something and maybe show some emotion. I was like, what do you want me to do? I don't fight in my family. I never fight. I'm always laughing. If things are not going well, I just have to go down on my knees and pray. And if I pray, I feel better because I give it to somebody my problems. I wait for the answer. That's what I do. So he couldn't understand it. And he was like, why are you like that? But after we split up, he was like, now I get you. Nomsa, you are annoying. You get things done. Honestly, he was like, you are an annoying person, but you get things done. Because when we split up, it's like, I realized as part of my family, when things got to be done for my daughter, they got to be done. There's no way out, an excuse. Things have got to be done. And you have to get on with it. So when I send an email and make a phone call and say I have a meeting that involves our daughter and I'm not intended to sort that thing on my own because there's part of somebody that is part of that journey in this journey. So I want you to be part of it. Be there at this time and you'll be start telling me the 20 reasons why he cannot make it. I'm like, be there. I see you at this time. And then he turns up. He enjoys the meeting when he turns up. So I'm like, why morning first time? So yeah, so you couldn't get me at the first time, Carol Anna. For me, that's my character. You have one choice in life. You accept people for who they are. If there's something that needs to be done, you get on with it. You don't complain. It's like my mom, she's alive. If I have money to help her, I feel that I shouldn't complain. I just help my mom. I don't wait for my siblings. I don't make phone calls on my siblings to tell me that there is a problem, to tell them there's a problem. Would you like to contribute? I don't do that. If my mom needs help, I just step in and just help her. And that's me. And even my friends, they come in and tell me problems. If I can help, I just step up, do my duty, and I'm done. I don't know about you. I don't like complicating things. I like to keep things very, very simple.
Yeah, that's a great way to be. And sometimes some people like to complicate things if that's the way they are. And I think, again, it's accepting and understanding that some people do complicate. They like complicated life.
I don't like complicated life.
You prefer a simple life, an easier life. And that it's recognizing that and accepting it. That's what friendship's about. It is understanding the other person. It is listening to them and understanding them and not wanting to change them. You can help them to grow and be a better person. That's different. When you challenge them.
I used to think I can change a man.
It's like, then you're not accepting the person who they are. You can, and as I say, you can challenge them
Yeah.
and help them to grow into a better person, that isn't changing them. It's helping them to grow. There's a difference and there's a subtlety. And again, if they're not willing to grow, they don't want to, then that, again, it's accepting that. I think for me, when I was with my ex-husband, he was always complaining about, the hierarchy. He was a policeman and he started off obviously on the beat as a police officer. And he was always complaining about the powers that be. And I said, well, you can't complain about them if you're not up there amongst them, because you're not in a place where you can do something about it. And for you to get up there and be amongst them, you have to do your exams. It was like, okay. So he did do his exams, and he's somebody that actually left school, very little qualifications. I think he had about, I don't know how many jobs before he met me within a short space of time, 15 different jobs. And, he was just still seeking, trying to find out what he could do, what he was good at. And when he joined the force, it was a struggle, and he was often at odds with people in the force, but he was really good at his job. In terms of being a local Bobby, he got to know people, they got to know him. And he brought the sort of the crime rate down, or the unrest rate, down, because he was known, because he got his finger on the pulse and kept it as a harmonious place, we were living. But there was still, he often was at odds with his bosses. But he did sit his exams. He had to sit his sergeants a couple of times before he actually passed, and I was helping and supporting him. And then, I said, well, you might as well, once you've got your sergeants, you might as well go for your inspectors. Let's get it out of the way. Because he was always saying, oh, they'll never promote me. I'm too outspoken. I said, well, you don't know. And if you haven't got your exams, you can't anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it was just that support, that nudge, because I'd always had it from my parents. They were always helping us to grow, to improve, to study, and to grow ourselves, and to try different things out. So he actually got his sergeants, and then did his inspectors and got them and passed first time, which was great. And he did end up over time becoming an inspector, so, and he grew much more confident in himself and was able to temper how he spoke. He was still sort of outspoken, but in a different way. It wasn't bolshy, belligerent, and, at them. It was different. And again, so this is how you grow as a person. And it's having somebody who can help you to grow. And so, yeah, but I mean, our relationship, it fell apart, and we decided it was better that we parted company. And sometimes I think, oh, would we have, should we have stayed together? But we made a decision, and that was the right thing. And I've gone on my path, and he's gone on his path. And I've found myself, I don't know, would I have found myself in the same way as I have now? I don't know. You can never say. And you just have to accept where it's at. And I know I've helped a few people with couples who they were at odds, and I've worked with them, and they've found each other again and been able to stay together, which is absolutely beautiful. And that's what had me thinking, well, why couldn't, my ex and I have done that? It wasn't meant to be. And I've had to let that go. But to see it actually as a possibility and help a few couples to stay together. There was one couple, they were able to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary. Whereas just before it, they were talking about parting company, but it was working on themselves, working on the issues, such that they could then still stay together, find that what had them be together in the first place and want to stay together. And the same for the other couple as well, because they realized there was underneath it all, fundamentally, they wanted to be together. So it is, every relationship is different. And it's recognizing what is its difference, and also recognizing what is your path within that journey, within that relationship. Is it one that's meant to only go so far and stop, or is it one that's meant to continue? And if it goes so far and stops, then accept it, because there's another journey for yourself of getting to know yourself in a different way and growing in a different way. And this is what I think life's rich tapestry is all about. And not making anything wrong. It is the learning and the growing, but having the conversation. It's being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to be open to what is going on for you, to sharing your feelings and letting somebody know, let somebody in. And I think I wasn't always able to be that vulnerable, because most of the time I didn't understand what I felt anyway. I didn't, and it isn't till I've done all of this work on myself and started looking at emotions, going in, being able to get the vocabulary and the understanding and being able to express it. Can I now say what I'm feeling and understand what I'm feeling and tell somebody how I'm feeling and be comfortable with that. So again, it's really about knowing yourself. It is a lot of personal development, personal exploration, because that then is being authentic. It's being true to yourself, knowing yourself, understanding what you're feeling, what you're willing to put up with or not, and being able to communicate that effectively. And by effectively, it means that you're not ending up in an argument. You're not putting someone else down or blaming them. You're taking responsibility for your own journey, for your own actions, the consequences of your actions, and for how you're feeling. And once you can do that, you're in a really powerful position to be with somebody else, to support them, and to recognize the friendship that's there. So again, it comes down to you. Bottom line, it's about you at the end of the day. But something I was looking at this morning that came up, and a couple of things is about showing up for your friends. It's about taking that time to hang out with them. You say they're your friend, but do you take time to hang out with them? Or are you constantly, I've got to work, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Do you take time to hang out with them and spend that bit of time and enjoy each other's company? And also investing that time and energy. Prioritize spending quality time with people that you actually who matter the most to you. Do you do that? Because again, that can enrich and build an authentic friendship based on truth, because you're being true to yourself. You're being open, you're being honest. And by giving somebody else time, rather than making it begrudging, it's like, oh, I should be doing something else, but I'll give you this. That's not being authentic. Being authentic is, yes, I've got a lot of other things to do, but I'm choosing to be with you right now because this is what's most important to me. And that's being authentic, and that's being truthful. It doesn't matter. Yes, you can say you've got lots of other things you could be doing or that you ought to be doing, but you're choosing in that moment to spend time with them, to have fun, to have a laugh, to go and explore, do something you haven't done together, You know, this is what life is about and what true friendship is about. So certainly, you know, it's that look to yourself. Where are you in all of this? Because the only common denominator with all of your different friends is you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just something Walter Winchell says, a real friend is one who walks in when the rest of the world walks out. I thought, how beautiful. And
yeah, that is so true, actually, because not every friend is there. People, I find that normally people don't want to hear people's problems. They're there when things are okay, because I see my friends that sometimes when they're going through something, they'll, like this quote says, they're out. Some people are out. And I think a friend is somebody who stand by you regardless of what. I was talking to my friend the other day, and she's like, she was laughing, and she was like, you know what, her son, since he started school, I used to buy him school shoes. Like every term, he should send me a message and say, yeah, he's running out of school shoes. Or just buy them and send them over. So we were just laughing. Now she's buying the school shoes because the school shoes are no longer £100. They are more than the school shoes. You know, like the school shoes they wear now is no longer school shoes. It's the trainers, black trainers, which they could be £500. And she was laughing, and she goes, do you really know your auntie used to buy you school shoes anytime? Now she can't buy them because they've gone as like even hype. My daughter, my oldest one now, she no longer wearing the school shoes now. Is they're wearing these trainers like everybody else is wearing at school, but they're not really school shoes. Yeah, so we were laughing, and she was like, yeah, you used to help me a lot. I was like, I know. And now when I ask, if I see something on special, I call, it's not his type. He doesn't want them. He wants specific. He goes, send me the money. I'll go and find the specific ones. So, but is my friend is a son, and to me is like my baby. So I'm just there for them, and I know she's always there for me as well. So I think that's what friend is all about, just being there for each other when the other person is going, or when happy, when we have joy, we've got to be there for each other. When there is challenges, we still have to be there for each other. That's why I don't have many friends, because I find that if I collect too many friends, I end up collecting the wrong people. So I have people from church that I meet for coffee, we have a chat. But then I have friends that we talk, and they listen, and I talk to them, they talk to me, we listen about different stuff, we have a laugh. So when I go to church, or when I'm with friends at church, I have to behave like I'm Jesus. So yeah, there are some people that I have to behave like that. But there are some friends that when I'm with them, I just have to be me. And that's why I even changed the church, because the church where I go is it's a church where you can just be normal. The normality, you don't have to worry about the values and beliefs that when you say something, it might come out wrong. But I find that with some cultures, people say they go to church, but then when you talk about the Bible, you have to be careful what you say. Even the scriptures, it says exactly what comes out of your mouth. You say it wrong, people start judging you. So I go to this church because I can go and just be myself. And I don't like to hang out with people where I have to watch what I say. I just have to be me. If I'm happy, I have to be happy. If I'm sad, I don't have to pretend that I'm happy if I'm sad. So those are the people that I like to hang out with when I'm feeling like law, I'm able to tell them that I'm not okay. So they don't expect me to be lovey-dovey or anything. But even though I'm always lovey-dovey, but if I'm not okay, I'm not okay. So I find that sometimes it can be a challenge when you actually choose fake friends. So you have to be really careful, and also showing up, how we show up to our friends. We have to be respectful, because it's very, very important to have boundaries and beliefs and values, meaning that we have to mind, we have to take people as they are. For me, it's like I'm a Christian, and my beliefs and my values are very, very important. But at the same time, when I meet someone that is not a Christian, I'm happy to listen to their point of view about life, because my point of view, it doesn't mean that because I'm a Christian is right. So I'm happy to listen to them, because I find that you learn when you listen to somebody's point of view when it comes to life. You listen, and those people, they teach you something. So I like to learn, I like to listen, but I can't go to something that is extremely, there are some people who are weak in this world, widows in this world. But I just need some normality. So I just hang out with people that are normal. I don't know what normal that is. There are some people that are really, really weird. Like, you'll find like somebody's like dressing up like something, a clown, and I'm like, what are you dressing? What the heck is going on? And we were talking about it today, me and the other girl at work in the office, and she was like, we're talking about Church of England allowing gay. And I was like, I think, and I was saying, I'm not sure if there's anything such as gay, if anyone can forgive me, I'm not sure. And my friend was saying God created Adam and Eve, and I was like, I think some of the things we have to look at it as a psychological problem, because I don't know. For me personally, I said to her, I don't know if there's anything in this world that is gay, but at the same time, we can't go and judge people as well. You have to accept people for who they are and live your own life. And so I was like, I'm not sure if there is anything like whatever people call themselves. I'm not sure if, to me, is psychological problems, because I see, I had a chat with somebody, and they split up with somebody, and she was like, I was like, why did you split up? And she was like, because they don't, she doesn't allow me to have an open relationship. And I was like, why would you want an open relationship? And she was like, then I can have a relationship with whoever I want. And then I was like, it does not make sense to me that you want a serious relationship and you want to have an open relationship. That is psychological issues. So, so I was like, I just don't understand. And she was like, Nomsa, you just say anything that comes out of your mouth. And I was like, but that is the truth. I was like, I'm just being honest. If you find somebody who is genuine, why would you want to go and mess it up? So I was like, I side with her that she's actually right, that she does not want to date somebody who wants to be in an open relationship. So I don't know.
Carol, that means that they've got two different sets of values.
Do you want to take over?
Okay. I mean, to me, that means there's two sets of values there. And it's not about making one right and one wrong. Everybody's got their own values and what is important to them. And if it is important for somebody that they want a committed relationship, but at the same time they want an open relationship, that's up for them. And it's up for them to find the person that wants the same. If you're with somebody that doesn't want that, then your relationship's on a non-starter to start with. So it's really, again, it comes down to being open and honest, knowing yourself and for some people it is. It's like, well, I don't understand. If you want a committed relationship, why would you want to have an open relationship and find other people? Because for them, that isn't in their world. It's not their values. But if it is your values, that is something that is important for you to be in a committed relationship, but still have an open relationship, then you need to find somebody who has the same values, because there will be somebody out there that has those same values. And then you can get together, see how it works. And maybe you may come to a place of having both been in that committed relationship, having an open relationship, and been out with other people as well. You come to a place of, well, actually, I don't want anybody else. But it's actually acknowledging these are my values and not making them wrong. Just because someone else doesn't understand them or doesn't accept them as values that they have, doesn't mean that you're wrong. And this is where I think it's having that empathy, that understanding, and supporting somebody wherever they're at, and helping them to then find what it is they're looking for so that they can then experience that. Because they may find that actually once they start experiencing that type of relationship, they might say, well, actually, no, this isn't what I actually want. This isn't what I thought it would be. Or it may be that, yes, it's enriching their relationship somehow. You don't know, and you cannot be somebody who can tell them how it's going to pan out, because only they can plan it out for themselves. So it is listening, being understanding and accepting of, where other people are at and not making it wrong. So that just comes down to values and looking at each other's values. And if they're not the same, if you're not, and you're at a point where actually I don't want to change my values, then clearly that relationship's not going to work. And you have to be honest. But if you're there and you want to make it work, then you go, okay, so how can I tweak my values so that somehow they're in alignment and we can make this relationship work, given that this is what I want and this is what you want? It's down to conversation. It's down to being open. It's being honest. It's being authentic and truthful. And then this is where friendship, because any relationship, really, the cornerstone, I think personally, has to be friendship, to make it flourish. That's the word, to flourish. I can think where I was going with that for a moment, but it's so it can flourish, and grow. Then you can both grow as people. You're not bringing each other down. You're not causing each other to hide within yourself or to retreat into yourself. It's about empowering each other to open up, to flourish, to be the best you can possibly be. That's what friendship, relationships are about. So I just like to leave people with a few quotes. One by Josh Grayson, who says, true friendship is when two friends can walk in opposite directions, yet remain side by side. Isn't that beautiful? I love that.
I love that too, not trying to change the other person. Absolutely. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. And then Steve Maraboli says, friends are medicine for a wounded heart and vitamins for a hopeful soul.
That's beautiful.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, that's gorgeous, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. That's what the friendship is about. But we tend to complicate. I think we're meant to respect each other when it comes to relationship and embrace our differences, and also be patient with each other as well is very, very important in that relationship for it to flourish. But I love the quotes more, what you've just said. I think it's beautiful. Do you have any Carol Anna, before we leave, would you like to actually tell the audience who you are and where they can find you, please?
Yes, I'm Carol Ann Cooper, and you can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on Facebook, and I also have a Facebook group called Get Your Book Written. Because what I do is I support women in becoming more productive with their writing. But it's more about a personal development journey through writing. It's about finding yourself. It's about releasing the past and writing your story so that you can move on and have those relationships that you seek, those friendships that you seek, because there is something healing through writing that happens. It's magical. So that's what I do, and that's where you can find me. Yeah. Thank you, Nomsa. You're muted.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol. And I'm just gonna be really quick because the guy that is fixing the boiler is just walked in. I think is making some noise. So please connect with us. If you're watching us on YouTube, please, we have a membership on YouTube. You can join the membership. That will give you an intimacy relationship with the other people within the community, or intimacy with our coaches. You can have one-on-one chat with our coaches, or if you want to become a coach, whatever questions you have, you can ask them one-on-one. And if you're watching us on Facebook, please like our page Nkosi Talk Shows. You can give us some stars there so we can reach more people within our community. And join our Facebook group as well, Nkosi Talk Shows and Unique Billionaire Mindset. And just get to hang out with us, please. And if you want to get in touch with Carol Ann about writing, please do. And if you can't get hold of him, you have the option of getting in touch with me. I'll connect you with her. Live with grace, everyone, and God bless.